What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you enjoyed that little sequence. If you're new around here, my name is Amar and I'm an electric skateboarder and content creator based right here in the UK. My goal for this channel is to be a resource for e-skaters through reviews, tutorials and ride videos. So if any of that interests you, smash that subscribe button and join me on this journey. After 100 kilometers of testing, today I'm going to be reviewing the Maxfind FF Plus, Maxfind's top of the line electric skateboard. I've had enough experience with this board now to bring you guys some very insightful and genuine feedback, and Maxfind did very kindly send over this board for review, but as always you can expect this review to be totally unbiased and honest. As usual, I've timestamped each section of this video in case you're only interested in one aspect. With that said, let's dive straight into the review, starting off with performance. You may be a little doubtful about the power of hub-driven electric skateboards, but let me tell you, as my first experience with hub motors, this board has surprised me. The FF Plus boasts dual 1200 watt hub motors, and considering I weigh 20 kilograms more than the maximum 100 kilograms limit of this board, these motors do a great job. Be under no illusion, however, that belt-driven boards are typically and generally far more torquier and more powerful than hub-driven boards like the FF Plus. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that this board lacks in power. Quite to the contrary, I've been able to climb very steep inclines and experience quite a punchy acceleration. For me, the board maxes out at a top speed of 24 miles per hour, just as advertised. The FF Plus utilizes a quick swap battery system. Each battery uses Samsung 18650 30Q cells in a 10S 2P configuration, and the pack is rated at 6 amp hours or 216 watt hours. When it comes to range, I tested this twice. Once at my weight of 125 kilograms with a backpack, where I got 6.8 miles on a full charge riding only in the third gear, and once at my friend's weight of around 70 kilograms where he got to around 9 miles give or take. Maxfind claimed that the FF Plus can travel 10 miles per battery pack, so I would say that this is quite a realistic figure, and you can expect a full battery charge in about 3 hours. I have to say, the range is one thing which in my view lets this board down. However, most FF Plus customers would probably choose to purchase 1 or 2 additional batteries with their boards. The batteries were, after all, designed to be super quick swappable, and within 10 seconds you can have a fresh battery installed on the board to double your range. I haven't been able to test this process myself because Maxfind didn't have any spare batteries in stock. Additional batteries can be purchased for £220 from the Maxfind website. Moving on to the deck, and the FF Plus is quite interesting. At first glance, you might mistake the board for having a carbon deck because of the very pretty carbon fiber coating consistent on the top and underside of the board. The deck, however, is actually composed of flexi PPS plastic and glass fiber. To be honest, as a heavier rider, I was quite skeptical and apprehensive of how a plastic deck would handle and react, but I'm glad to say I've been pleasantly surprised with the experience. Maxfind call this a super flex deck, and trust me, they're not exaggerating. There is a whole lot of flex in this deck and a lot of rebound, especially if you don't take a wide foot stance. But flex for a board like the FF Plus, which uses hub motors and solid tires, is probably a good thing. The deck does a great job in absorbing a lot of those road vibrations and allows for a more forgiving and smooth ride. I don't have much to say about the tyres. They come in at 6.5 inches and you'll definitely feel much more vibrations than pneumatic tyres with inner tubes, but it will still be a more comfortable ride than urethane wheels. Do note that this is not a 2-in-1 board. You can only use the Maxfind FF Plus in AT configuration. The FF Plus is the first board I've seen which uses double kingpin trucks with hub motors. The trucks are 13.5 inches and CNC machined. They feel very nimble and agile, and they allow for a very playful and carvy ride. At top speed, they also felt moderately stable, but then again, this board will only take you to about 23 to 24 miles per hour. The board uses barrel and cone bushings which are 98A in diameter, and that's probably why the ride was quite stable. A note though that they came far too loose out the box for my weight. I had to tighten both kingpins up quite a bit. You can't tighten the lower kingpin with a T-tool unless you dismantle the entire truck, and that's why in the box Maxfind supply you with a spanner that's the right size. I was genuinely surprised at how fun this board was to ride off-road. It handles very nicely, and being a hub-driven board, you don't need to worry about snapping belts, as usually happens with dirt exposure on belt-driven boards. You also have a lot of clearance to go over tree roots and other obstacles. Riding off-road though will burn through your battery pretty quickly. Because the board uses solid tyres and not pneumatic tyres, it does lack a little bit of grip off-road, although the tyres do have a good amount of tread on them. This isn't really helped by the unique silicone-like grip tape on the deck. This is where I think you may choose to upgrade to something like Dope Grip if you'll be off-roading on the FF Plus a lot, and this will really lock your feet in and keep you planted. Dope Grip will also be much grippier when riding the board under wet conditions. The FF Plus is an incredibly convenient board in more than one respect. Being a hub-driven AT board with solid tyres, it requires extremely low maintenance. Unlike belt-driven AT boards with pneumatic tyres, you never have to worry about snapping a drive belt, replacing a pulley bearing, or getting a puncture. Because of the swappable battery design and the general minimalist theme to the board, it's also quite light for an all-terrain electric skateboard. It weighs in at around 11 kilograms. Still, you won't need to pick up the board to carry it around thanks to the integrated handle at the front of the deck. The handle makes transporting the board around supermarkets and malls very easy and convenient. Just make sure the board is on first, because sometimes it prevents you from free-rolling the rear tires. One thing to note is that because the tires sit ahead of the handle and the rear of the board, it's very difficult to get the board to stand upright against the wall or something. Another convenient feature I've found is the remote's use of USB-C charging. USB-C is the future of small consumer electronics, and as I've said before, most of my gadgets already utilize USB-C charging, so it's great that I don't need to rely on another proprietary cable to charge my FF Plus remote. Though I can't really comment on how good the warranty is, Maxfind do offer a 270-day warranty with the board, so that should provide riders with a little bit of comfort and reassurance. The remote is a standard Hobbywing remote with a display. Like I've mentioned, I quite like that it uses USB-C, and I really like the large screen, scroll wheel, and just the way it fits in your hand. You get these standard beginner, eco, fast, and maximum power modes. I conducted most of my testing in the fast setting to maximize on range while still getting a fun ride. I should also add that the board feels very responsive, and you can really enjoy very smooth acceleration and braking thanks to the Hobbywing ESC. Maxfind also sent me a couple of their accessories to check out, which you can purchase directly on their website. First is the red bash guard, which will do a great job of protecting the nose and tail of your deck on impact, especially since it's composed of plastic. I'm going to be honest, I don't love the way it looks, but sometimes it's function over aesthetics. The light, on the other hand, was quite cheap, though if I'm honest, I have been spoiled by brands like Shred Lights. But yeah, this light can function both as a red rear light or a white front light. It's bright enough to allow you to be seen by other road users at night, but not bright enough to see yourself. That's where I would recommend a helmet mounted Shredlight SL1000, which if you haven't watched my review on, you can watch right there. I think there's really three things which can be improved on this board. First, I wasn't most impressed with the range. At my weight, I got around 7 miles, which in today's standards is not a lot at all. As mentioned before, you can easily purchase additional batteries, which will get you back riding in a matter of seconds. However, I can be quite lazy sometimes, and I would prefer to just have all the range I need in one single charge and one single battery, which I don't need to constantly switch out. I do understand why Maxfind have taken this route, because to make a bigger battery would mean they can no longer use a deck as flexible as the one they use on the FF Plus now. But maybe they can look at making flexible batteries on PCBs. Secondly, I would love to see Maxfind upgrade their ESC so that it incorporates auto turn on from the remote and standby mode. This is a feature X-Way and now Backfire are using, and honestly, once you've gotten used to it, it's such a life of convenience, never having to turn your board on manually. The final bit of criticism is quite an easy fix, and it's that you can't adjust the lower kingpin on Maxfind's DKP trucks with a normal T-tool. I'd love to see Maxfind change this and imitate other brands in this regard. One final point may be to use traditional grip tape for better handling off-road and in wet conditions, but honestly, after a while using this board, I quite liked the unique silicone-like grip, and I loved how easy it was to clean especially. Should you buy this board? If you're in the market for an affordable and moderately performing all-terrain electric skateboard which requires minimal maintenance, the FF Plus will serve you very well. I would also add that when testing this board, I was 25 kilograms above the maximum weight limit and I didn't break anything, so I'm confident that this is quite a reliable board that will survive well over time. In my case, it's already been ridden for over 100 kilometers. If range is your priority and you don't like the idea of purchasing and carrying around additional batteries, you may choose to look elsewhere. Otherwise, just grab some extra batteries from Maxfind's website. But all in, this is a pretty well made, fun, agile, carvy board that's a blast to ride and will make a great addition to any e-skaters collection. If you enjoyed this review, please make sure to leave a massive thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. Also drop a comment letting me know what you think about this board and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Shabadoa.